Let me ask you something direct. Do you actually feel sharper than your parents were at your age? What about your grandparents? For 50 years, the answer was supposed to be yes. Every single generation of humans scored higher on intelligence tests than the one before. Not by chance, not by a little, measurably, consistently, everywhere. Then, around 1995, the climb stopped, and then it reversed. And what researchers found when they tracked why it happened changes how you'll think about your own mind forever. The data isn't a rumor. It's over 1 million people, 8 countries, decades of testing. Scores aren't just flattening, they're dropping. By margins, scientists are calling alarming. But here's what almost nobody has shown you side by side. While those scores fall, something else has been rising on the exact same timeline. That overlap is where this gets impossible to scroll past. A 2018 Norwegian study confirmed the reversal was real and accelerating. They tracked over 700,000 men across 3 decades. A separate U.S. analysis measured 400,000 people across 4 cognitive domains. 3 of the 4 are declining. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what's pulling those numbers down and why it's happening to you right now, whether you've noticed it or not. There are 3 forces behind it. The third one makes the first 2 feel like a warm-up. And there's a detail planted in the first 30 seconds of this video that you'll understand completely differently by the end. When the reversal first hit the headlines, the explanation that spread fastest was also the most comfortable, at least if you weren't the group being blamed. The theory was simple. Smarter people have fewer children. Less educated groups have more. Over generations, the math drags the average down. It had a name, the dysgenics hypothesis. It carried the cold authority of arithmetic. It sounded like science. You've probably heard it. You might have even half believed it. But in 2018, Norwegian researchers published something that cut the legs out from under it completely. They didn't compare strangers. They compared brothers. Same parents, same house, same genes, same neighborhood, same dinner table. The only difference? When each brother came of age, the younger brother scored lower. Think about what that actually means. The decline wasn't in their DNA. It couldn't be. They shared DNA with an older brother who scored higher. Something in the world changed between when the older brother grew up and when the younger one did. The environment shifted, and whatever shifted, it shifted everywhere. Denmark, Finland, France, the Netherlands, Estonia, multiple US states. Same pattern. It's like 2 plants from the exact same seed, grown in the same pot. But the one that sprouted later grew up with less light. The seed didn't change. The conditions did. So this isn't about who is having children with whom. It's about something that changed in our shared environment after 1975. Something that quietly depresses the exact cognitive skills these tests measure. Abstract reasoning, working memory, processing speed, the ability to hold several ideas in your head and manipulate them at once. There are suspects. You interact with at least 2 of them every single day. But the first one is not what you think it is. The cognitive skills declining fastest aren't random. They form a specific cluster. Researchers call it executive function, sustained attention, working memory, the ability to delay gratification, fluid reasoning under pressure. What made those skills rise during the Flynn Effect? And what's making them fall now? Here's the mechanism. Executive function isn't fixed at birth. It builds like a muscle through repeated, effortful use. And the specific exercise that builds it strongest has become structurally scarce in modern life. That exercise is boredom, not emptiness, not distraction, but the deliberate cognitive state of staying with something difficult when an easier option is right there. Reading a complex argument to its actual conclusion. Sitting with an unsolved problem without reaching for your phone. Following a thought to where it leads, instead of jumping to the next stimulation. In 2023, researchers tracked over 80,000 people and found something hard to accept. The average time a person could focus on one screen without switching dropped from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to 47 seconds today. And it's not because people got dumber, it's because nothing around them requires focus anymore. Every app, every feed, every platform, engineered to interrupt you. Interruption keeps you scrolling. Scrolling makes money. The business model and the cognitive cost are the exact same thing. Now return to those Norwegian brothers. They grew up in the same house, but the younger brother came of age in an environment with measurably more interruption, more fragmentation, more passive consumption, fewer hours of the effortful, uninterrupted thought that built his older brother's working memory. The seed was identical. The light was different. The attention environment is the primary driver, but it's not operating alone. There are 2 more suspects, and the second one was quietly removed from your food, without any announcement, by people who almost certainly knew what they were doing. Through most of the 20th century, commercial bread across the US and Europe was made with iodized dough conditioners. Iodine is essential for thyroid function. Thyroid function is directly linked to cognitive development, especially in children, especially in utero. The Flynn effect's rise tracked almost perfectly with improvements in nutrition, including widespread iodine availability. Then, in the 1970s and 1980s, manufacturers switched. Bromine-based alternatives replaced iodized conditioners in commercial bread production. Iodine deficiency, a condition once considered solved, quietly returned. In developing populations, iodine deficiency is documented to reduce IQ scores by 10 to 15 points. In developed nations, the effect is smaller, but it's measurable, and it happened without a single public notice. You were likely exposed to lower iodine levels than your parents were, and you had no way to know it. Add to that, leaded aviation fuel wasn't fully phased out until 1996. Researchers estimate it caused measurable cognitive losses across entire birth cohorts who grew up near small airports. Nutrition, chemical exposure, the attention environment. Three converging forces, running simultaneously for 50 years. But none of them, not even one, explains what you see when you plot the decline on the same graph as something else. Something that has been rising quietly since 2015. That graph is what this video is actually about. Go back to the opening for a moment. The Flynn effect. Every generation scoring higher than the last ran for 50 years, then reversed. Here's what I haven't told you yet. Researchers studying the reversal noticed a pattern in which scores are falling. Not all cognitive skills are declining equally. The ones falling fastest form a specific cluster, and when you look at that cluster carefully, you realize it's not random. It looks almost designed, not by anyone in particular, but by a combination of forces that happen to target the exact same set of skills in your brain. The abilities falling fastest in humans are the ability to reason through problems, hold multiple things in your mind at once, stay focused, think under pressure. Those aren't random skills, they're the hardest ones we ever developed. They're the ones that built everything. And I'm not talking about reading or talking. I'm talking about the deeper ability to sit with a hard problem and actually think it through, to ignore the obvious answer and find the real one. And they are precisely, specifically, measurably, the skills that AI systems have improved at fastest since 2015. Is this a coincidence? We've been measuring how well humans think since the 1930s. We've been measuring how well AI thinks since about 2015. When you put both on the same graph, there is nothing subtle about it. One line goes down, one line goes up, and right now, they are closer together than they have ever been. Researchers will tell you the tests measure slightly different things, and they're right. But even they admit, the overlap is not a coincidence. The skills both lines track are the same ones. They're heading toward the same place. Now here's the part that almost no one reporting on this tells you, because it changes everything about what you just learned. The reverse Flynn effect is environmental. It's not genetic, and it's not permanent. Something in the world changed. And the things that changed are, at least in principle, things that can change back. The Norwegian brothers prove it, because the only variable that could explain siblings in the same household scoring differently is the world they grew up in, not who they were. No generation before this one has had the data to see the decline happening in real time. The researchers who first confirmed the Flynn effect had no way to know it would reverse. The scientists who confirmed the reversal in 2018 had no way to know AI would benchmark on the same cognitive tasks within 7 years. You have that data now. You are watching the lines converge in real time. And you are doing it at the one moment in history when the decline is confirmed to be reversible, and when the cost of not reversing it has never been higher. The question is not whether humans are getting dumber. They are. The question is whether the line goes back up, and whether you are part of the answer or part of the trend. If this changed how you see your own mind, there's a deeper dive on how to rebuild focus in a world designed to break it. Link in the description.